So on the one hand, while the Memorandum of Association simply deals with the outside world, so on the other hand, Articles of Association are considered as the bylaws of the company, that is, the laws that are going to guide the day-to-day issues faced by the company. In short, the Articles of Association regulate matters of internal organization which are basically of interest directly to the members of the company. So all matters that relate to how the company is actually going to be run, that is how the business of the company is actually going to be carried on, are obviously internal matters, and they are included in the Articles of Association. And in this lecture, we're going to look at the rules and regulations that are contained in the Articles of Association, that is the content of the Articles of Association. So one point to note is that the articles are considered as subordinate to the memorandum, because remember, the memorandum itself is considered as the constitutional document of the company. So even though the Articles of Association have to be submitted along with the Memorandum of Association, that is at the time of registration, the Articles of Association have to be registered along with the Memorandum of Association. But you still have to remember that the Articles of Association come next to the Memorandum of Association, because the MOA is considered as the primary constitutional document. Although I'd like to add here that this is particularly relating to Pakistan, because in other countries, for instance in the UK, this is no longer the case, and both of these documents are considered as having equal value. Okay, as regards the content of the Articles of Association, these are usually largely governed by the contents of Table A, which is available in the first schedule to the Companies Act 2017. And the reason for this is that as far as companies limited by shares are concerned, they are permitted to directly adopt all or any of the regulations that are contained in this table, that is Table A in the first schedule to the Companies Act. Although I should clarify that it is possible that a company may not adopt Table A as it is, and instead maybe alter some of the provisions, because Table A is simply intended to provide a guide, that is, it acts as a model. So it's up to the company to adopt all or some of the articles provided in Table A. So like I said, that if you want to understand what the contents of the Articles of Association of a company are, usually it's a good idea to just have a look at the contents of Table A, which are provided in the first schedule to the Companies Act. And by the way, I have no intention of reading out all of the articles that are mentioned in this table, because there are more than 20. But just to give you a very brief idea, these Articles of Association are going to include important details such as details relating to the process for the transfer of shares, and the allotment of shares, and the alteration of share capital, and other details such as relating to the meetings and the accounts of the company, the audit of the company, and of course voting rights, and any details regarding the payment of dividend, and so on and so forth. You can have a look at Table A if you're interested in the details, because the purpose of this lecture is to bring to you the most important details. And other details that you need to know are, first of all, that if the company decides to choose Table A, instead of forming its own Articles of Association, that is, instead of hiring somebody to draft Articles of Association for that company, or drafting the same articles for itself, then applicability of Table A is going to be in full. That is, if the articles are not registered separately, then Table A is applicable in full. So if, for instance, you do not want Table A to apply fully, then you will have to ensure that you separately register your articles as well, and you mention the modifications, that is, those particular clauses that you want to exclude or modify. And of course, there's also the option that if you don't want Table A to apply at all, then you can simply specifically state this by excluding Table A, and by stating this in the articles that you're going to file for your company. Okay, and before I conclude this lecture, I need to add one crucial point that you should know. That is, the Articles of Association can be altered by way of a special resolution. And we've already discussed in another lecture what a special resolution is and how it can be passed. So yes, alterations can be made to the Articles of Association later on, although there are certain special procedures to be carried out if the alteration is going to affect the rights of certain members substantively. Okay, so that's it for this introductory lecture about the Articles of Association.